Welcome to Freedom Talk CounterCulture with Nick Nittoli and Kelly Walker. We have a very special guest today. Haile McAnally is with us. Haile, pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Totally.
Awesome. Welcome to Freedom Talk, everybody. Nick, take it from here. I know you know Haile, and we're going to really have a great conversation.
Haile, tell our guests about yourself and everything that you're doing right now.
Absolutely. Well, I am actually a wife, a very proud wife of a active duty Navy sailor right now. So he is in San Diego. I'm a born and raised Nebraskan. So I have lived here my whole life. Nebraska is home to me. It's everything. You can probably see that by any of my social media accounts. It's probably weird at this point, but I love it. And I got involved in politics about in 2020-ish, I think, when a lot of people started waking up to what was going on in 2020 with the pandemic and kind of some things that weren't quite adding up. And before that, I was not involved at all. Actually, I found out I was a conservative in 2020. So that's where I was at. And in 2021, I was not vibing with a lot of things going on in our local government. And I actually decided to run for our state legislature. And we did really, really well. We lost by 115 votes in the primaries. We were really excited about that. Very grassroots. We had a campaign spend almost $500,000 against us. And it was just, I always say we were just a group of ragtag blondes that were just running around Omaha saying that we just loved freedom. We love small government. And since then, I've just been on the forefront of the medical freedom movement. I've got involved in pageantry. Actually, one of my platforms for this year heading into nationals is getting people involved, getting registered to vote. That's a really big thing for me, just to be involved civically and use your voice in that way. And I'm just ready to kind of carry that torch into the next presidential election.
Love that answer. Wow. Yeah, so I'll tell a quick story. So I was playing the Nebraska's Freedom Festival. I think it was last September or somewhere around there. Yeah, somewhere around there. And I performed there with other people like Primetime Alex Stein 99 and Bryson Gray. And we're having a great performance outside in the tents at the Sarpy Fairgrounds in Omaha, Nebraska. And all of a sudden, Mother Nature just shut us down, and she became liberal for 45 minutes, and it just started to rain on our parade. And I thought the show was over. We're getting rained out. And then Haley's like, no, have no fear. Haile McAnally is here and said, everybody get on a text message chain and come meet me at my gym. And we'll keep the party going. We'll have the concert inside my gym. And in my head, I was like, I don't, this doesn't sound like a great situation. It was so much better than the outside version. She not only saved the night, she made the night. So we had a great concert. It was, obviously dry, and we had pizzas coming in. Everybody who was at the Sarpy Fairgrounds met inside of Haley's gym. And yeah, just thank you again, Haile. You totally saved the date.
Absolutely. I feel like a party should go on into the night. So I just wasn't ready for it to be over yet. So I'm glad we all got to get together, and, we had a lot of good worship time. We had a lot of really good community. It was really awesome, and something I think we needed for that beacon of hope last year. So I was really proud of that.
100%. It's a night I will never forget because it really symbolized to me like what patriots can do when they come together and just, don't give up. It was just, like it wasn't that serious of a thing, but we really, we all came together and we made it happen. So shout out to Haile for that. Haile, you are the regional coordinator for Public Square. Tell us a little bit about that, why you're involved with this company, Public Square, what it means to you, and what it's like being a regional coordinator.
Absolutely. I have been with Public Square pretty much since the beginning. I was one of its first ambassadors, and I got a DM on Instagram from Grace, who still works with the company now. And she was like, hey, I see you're really involved in the freedom movement. Would you want to come aboard this app that's being created? We weren't even live in 50 states yet. She was like, just get businesses who, maybe stood up to the mask mandates or the vaccine passports or whatever it was on the app. And I was like, lucky for you, I'm already doing this. And now we can take things off of Facebook where we know they're already working against us onto a platform where it completely supports free speech, the Constitution, fundamental family, like just the basic things that America was founded on. And I was like, sign me up. You don't have to pay me anything. I'm here. Let's go. It's go time. And I've just been with the company since. We've grown. We just went public a few weeks ago, which was so exciting. I don't know if anybody saw the USA chant that was phenomenal on the New York Stock Exchange and really made a lot of people in the liberal media pretty upset, but we lived for it.
So now
I was not actually. We had just gotten done with ActCon and Turning Point USA's ActCon in West Palm Beach. So I was headed back to Omaha, and then I got the text that everybody was going to New York, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just celebrate from my living room. It'll be fine the same way. So yes, I'm still involved to this day, and we are America's largest marketplace of freedom-loving businesses, and especially with these new Biden mandate talks kind of surfacing, I know that we've been really seeing an influx of people going, where can I go to shop? Whether it's you need new clothes or you need a plumber, anything that you could even think of. We even have a crayon company for back to school, so you don't have to shop at the woke Crayola company, which is amazing. And so now people have a place they can go, a parallel economy that supports their values. So I'm so proud to be a part of it.
I love that. And just for our listeners who aren't really familiar with Public Square, why do we need a company like that? Why is it important that we have somewhere else to go and take our business elsewhere? What's happening in the aggregate society that we need a place like Public Square?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's a few facets to it. One that really came bubbling up the last few years is something called ESG, which is environmental, social, and governance policies, which basically say that certain companies have to abide by certain rules. Maybe it's the trans agenda or it's the green agenda or whatever it is. And if they don't abide by these certain rules that unfortunately the government has put into place, they're going to lose funding or donors or just certain things, maybe their position on the New York Stock Exchange. It really could be an array of things. And our CEO, Michael, said, no more of this. This is the land of the free, the home of the brave. We're not going to have big brother, big government looking over our shoulders. These businesses should do business how they want to do it. And so we put out our core values, which is we respect family. We respect life at all stages. We respect the Constitution and what our founding fathers really put in place. So we have a free app on the App Store on Android and Apple. You can go on and you create a free account. If you're a business, you can create a free account. And you are now linked to 65,000 businesses nationwide that have that respect our core values, which you see when you first sign up for your account. And now you can shop knowing that your values are supported where you shop instead of shopping at companies that genuinely, if you don't believe in that, whatever agenda it is, they kind of hate you for it. And so you're supporting businesses and giving your hard-earned dollars to businesses that are supporting abortion or that are supporting transitioning minors or things that you just genuinely don't agree with. And you're supporting that by shopping with them. So now we're giving you alternatives where you don't have to do that.
Amen. And it's such a beautiful thing for people to be able to put their money where their values are aligned with. Give your money back to people who are fighting for the same, not only policies or political values, but just overall family values that your family shares. So it's a great way to just, support people that are supporting you, is how I like to say it.
Absolutely. And, it gives a new meaning to freedom. We're putting the free back in the free market. And I couldn't be more excited about that.
Amen. Yeah, 100%. I mean, just with, stores like Target and even Walmart, a lot of people that shop there, in my head, I'm like, yeah, I just got off the phone with you and you were telling me that you hate everything that these corporations stand for, yet you don't know where to go. So you're giving your money right back, putting it in the belly of the beast. You're giving your money back to the enemy and you're funding people that are, doing terrible things with that money. You know what I mean? They're promoting values that you don't align with. So it's like, but a lot of people really don't know where to go. And so that's what I love about Public Square. And I love the idea of it. I remember I met you and I believe her name was Christy.
Chrissy, yes.
Chrissy, yes. Chrissy at that booth. And I was like, this is going to blow up. I have a lot of faith in this. And I definitely want to be, aligned with the company because I believe in it. I think it's a great idea. So.
Thank you so much. I mean, I think one of the biggest things you can see is the Bud Light situation. Even if you just say Bud Light, even if you're not political at all, you don't watch the news, Everybody knows what's going on in Bud Light right now. And you look at something like Public Square, we have, the Right Side beer. I know there's a ton of beer companies we have on the app, but now you're uplifting these small businesses, a lot of veteran-owned businesses. There must be written in a book where if you're a veteran and you're not in service anymore, you create a beer company or a t-shirt company, and they're all in the Public Square app. So it's fantastic to know that these huge companies are kind of doing the work for us. They're making these mistakes, ignoring 90% of middle America, and they're making these kind of very woke statements, and we're just over here providing all the solutions. So
yeah, it's like a lot of people, will say, well, go woke, go broke. Well, Public Square is actually acting on that. And they're like, no, really, we can really make these people go broke if they go woke.
Exactly.
It's not just a mantra. They're actually putting their money where their mouth is. I love it.
Yeah, Nick, I was really impressed when I saw Michael Seifert say that, if lockdowns come again, Public Square will cover fines for people keeping their businesses open. I think that's tremendous as someone who owned a retail business during the lockdowns.
It's incredible. And very few companies are willing to make a statement like that. And that's so bold like that. And, that may put a target on our back, but at the end of the day, I feel like conservatives have found our voice finally. It took us a while. There was some speed bumps, I think people got a little uncomfortable, but we're finally finding our voice. And when we see a fellow patriot that has a target on their back, we rally and we say, we're going to even lift you up higher. And it's really fantastic to watch.
Where have I heard that target on my back thing?
I know. I was like, she's giving me a shout out right now with the lyrics.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Nebraska Freedom Coalition. That's where I met you. You were obviously, boots on the ground, helping out with the event and stuff. You're good friends with Malia, who's an absolute sweetheart. Tell us a little bit about that, how you got involved with them, and what they're about.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I ran for office, it was just one of those things where I'm like, I want all the patriots around me because we have a common goal. And it's to really assess where the establishment is at in Nebraska and what we want and what we don't want, A, in our candidates, and B, in our local government. Because we all know that in America, it starts at the bottom at the local, and then it should go up, right? That's how it should work. And so Nebraska Freedom Coalition, they were out there. They were already talking the game that I wanted to talk. So I honestly just sent a Facebook message and I was like, I know we know each other from somewhere and I just want to get involved. And so since then, Malia and I have become such great friends. We've traveled together. She's one of our Public Square ambassadors. And we have really been on the forefront in Nebraska, just holding our elected officials accountable, whether you're Republican or Democrat. We don't really see it like that. We see it as, are you doing the right thing according to America's traditional values, or are you not? That's really what it all boils down to. It doesn't really get much more complicated than that. And so I'm usually at a lot of their events. I support a lot of the things that they say. They sometimes say things that no one else wants to say. And I really respect people that do that. So,
yeah.
I noticed that on Twitter, man. I was like, well, Nebraska Freedom Coalition, they ain't playing around.
I know. I'm like, you guys, I am in pageants. I can't share everything you guys say. You know that, right?
Oh, so, awesome. Yeah. You just touched on something that I wanted to touch on. So you have traveled a lot. I saw that you just went recently to the latest Turning Point event. Is that right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that, because you're everywhere. I see every story that you post. And you're everywhere. You're boots on the ground. Haley, tell us about that.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, united we stand, divided we fall. So I want to meet as many Americans as I can that are on the same page as me, because I truly believe that a unified front, especially going into 2024, is one of the most important tools in our tool belt that we can have. And so I just, with Public Square, it gives me a lot of opportunity to travel and go to these events. And it's kind of nice because you're around people who already think like you do. So it kind of gives you that like extra adrenaline. You're like, you kind of just get excited. You're like, freedom, heck yeah. That's always how I leave. I'm like, yeah, America, totally. Go. And so I've kind of just made this thing when I travel, I want to learn about the culture that's there. I feel like that's really important. And B, I get an opportunity to see how other people see what's going on in the United States from their point of view. I live in Nebraska, a very red state. Some people would argue it's purple. I'm not going to argue that. It's red. End of discussion. And so, when I'm in California, I get to see it differently. I get to see how people really do live in this woke world where parents can get custody taken away because they don't choose to transition their kids. And so I think really being a sponge and absorbing how people are living throughout the United States and really experiencing what's going on is only an asset and can help me kind of take that back to the other places I travel.
I love that.
You know, it's interesting because we moved from Tucson, Arizona, which is, I'll just say it, Tucson used to be beautiful. It's a communist cesspool now. Regina Romero, the governor, has driven it into the ground. The cartels are in control. I mean, I think places in Mexico are better than that. But we moved out here to Tennessee, and it's completely different. And I find a friend of mine who's been out here for a long time calls it the Shire. Like people, because of Congressman Andy Ogles, who I interviewed this morning, they just didn't go through the persecution and everything with the lockdowns. He's like, yeah, we're not doing that. We'll let people make their own decisions, put on their big boy pants, you know.
Wild concept.
In other areas, it was horrible, and now people are concerned that these things could come back. I don't think they're going to get the same response this time. I think people are going to stand up. What do you think about that? Do you think people are going to stand up if they try this crap again?
I am so jazzed to find out. I am so jazzed. You know, for one, I did not subscribe to the mask and vaccine situation going on. You know, if that is your choice, and I've held this stance ever since all this happened, it's your choice to wear a mask. If that's how you feel safe, that's great. That's your whole thing. I am a personal trainer by trade. I've been in the health industry for about 10 years now, and I knew right away that dirty masks on a face all day long are not the way to health. So I just didn't subscribe to that. Just from a holistic background, I didn't. And so I think as more of us, again, kind of found our voice through the pandemic, it forced people to really come at this crossroads. Are they going to force their kids to wear masks all day, or are they not? And I think that getting that courage from the first time around is going to be really interesting to see, how suburban moms are going to do this, because I know a lot of them did not like the masks on the kids or the schools being closed. And suburban moms are a huge voter block. No one wants to really, like, I'm not a mom yet, but I'm in the suburbs. So, you know, we kind of all chit chat and we talk. I mean, we go to a bad restaurant and we talk. I can't imagine how when these masks comes back, how much that is just going to light a fire. So I am really jazzed, I think, because I'm very strong in my beliefs and my values about this. I'm not going to stay quiet about it, probably. We're going to do it in a graceful way, I'm sure. But I'm not going to be quiet, and hopefully that other people will get inspiration from that as well.
Speaking of inspiration, your weight loss journey is an extremely inspiring thing. Your posts a lot of them are about health and wellness. You live on the treadmill. I don't know how you make it out to all these events and stuff. You're always working out. Tell us a little bit about that and where you were at and where you're at now.
Yeah. So my weight loss journey started about a decade ago. I wish it was more inspirational, but it was a bad breakup and I wanted to be a hot ex-girlfriend. And it was really that. And I said, I'm just going to start working out and I'm going to get healthy. And, you know, and so I did. And I developed this sense of discipline that I crave. I crave having a schedule and being very rigid in that way and challenging myself. And over the past decade, you know, we opened a gym. You know, I've helped hundreds of women for their wedding, for pageants, whatever it is, reach their goals. And it really helped me develop. I've had a lot of tough conversations. I've had a lot of come to Jesus moments with myself and other clients. And I think in a way through this journey, it has all led me into where I'm at with politics. You wouldn't think about it, but when you develop such a very passionate mindset and like a very disciplined mindset, like I said, and you get your mindset on something, I've proved that, you know, I can be pretty dangerous when I set my sights on something. And unfortunately, they messed with the wrong girl when they decided to do those mandates because I was not there for that. I went to too much school and I am not going to subscribe to that. And I'll make sure anyone in my circle doesn't either.
And I love hearing that because we were out in Tucson. We had a little coffee shop. We got attacked. We were the only ones that stood up and it felt so lonely. I got arrested for speaking up on our behalf at a county board of supervisors meeting. And I have to flash forward to right now, how encouraging this is to see all the people who found each other, who are standing together. I'd love to hear what you're saying. Where were you in 2020, man? I brought you out and let's go, you know, with these people. But this is, I mean, it's so great to hear your story. I feel like you're a sister, you know?
Thank you so much. Even the pink blazer, we went right with the pink blazer today. I was a little nervous.
There you go. Awesome.
I always say I can do all the things that the established can do in pink and in heels. So try me because I will fight you. I will fight you in 6-inch heels. Just bring it on. Bring it on.
I love it.
I'm not going to underestimate you, that's for sure.
Take us through your pageantry. I know that's a big part of your story. And I think you represented Nebraska. Was that correct?
I've been a dad for about 23 years. I have 5 kids from 23 to 8 years old. Fatherhood has always been very important to me. But over the time I've been a father, the world has gone mad. Judeo-Christian values are under serious attack and morality has been turned upside down. I'm sure you've noticed there's a war against the family, and especially against fathers. Sick, twisted ideologies are targeting our children through Hollywood, music, and even in our schools, many of which have become radical left-wing indoctrination centers. Our culture needs good, strong fathers more than ever. That's why Freedom Talk is thrilled to announce a new seminar that will give you the guidance you need. It's called Fathering in a World Gone Mad. We've brought together remarkable male role models to share their wisdom on the art of fatherhood. Eric Metaxas, Victor Marks, Sheriff Mark Lamb, Dave Scarlett, and more lead an all-star lineup that will guide you through the pitfalls of postmodernism and Marxist ideology so that you can bring your children up in the training and admonition of the Lord. Hosted by yours truly and Pastor John Amonchukwu, Fathering in a World Gone Mad includes a free copy of my book, Guidebook for a Son, a study guide, and opportunities for you to ask your most pressing questions and get the help you need. Purchase access now and watch the series on your timeline beginning September 15th, 2023. Plus, you get a free digital copy of my book, Guidebook for a Son. Every dad needs a guidebook, and I've got one for you. I think you're going to enjoy it. To register, just go to realfreedomtalk.com. That's realfreedomtalk.com and click on the Fathering Seminar tab. We hope to see you there.
From the moment the doctor placed you in my arms, I cried, giving glory to God. The passion I feel inside, emotions I couldn't hide. The look in your mom's eye was so beautiful, I ain't gonna lie. In such a still, quiet moment, set our hearts on fire. That's the epitome of purpose, blessing to cover curses. Hope in all of my searches, if I could die for you, be certain. Every drop I bleed is worth it. This moment is so perfect, so real, so cherished. I'm healed, so nourished. No place I wouldn't go, nothing I wouldn't do. You shall call her Azariah. I've given this name to you, cause it means that God helps. And I knew that was so true as I sang this song to you. Always forever, closer together, I will be with you.
Yeah. This is actually my second year. I'm actually involved in the United States of America's pageant system, which actually, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar. The ACLU actually sued our pageant system for keeping it a women's only space. And we won in Nevada. We won that case, and we only welcome naturally born women into our pageant, which I know a lot of pageants do say that. We just unfortunately have a legal precedent now set before us, so we love that. And so this will actually be the second year I will be competing as Mrs. Nebraska, and I'm very excited for it. My platforms usually are pretty safe. They're kind of weight loss inspired, inspiring women. And this year I am kind of taking a risk, and it's a little controversial, but we're going to really push the voting and registering and getting young people, but specifically my heart is young women involved in our local government. I feel like there should be a good balance of that male masculine energy. And just for everybody, masculinity is not toxic. Thank you.
Right.
And this kind of feminine maternal energy in government, I think, is just like a beautiful mesh up of getting things done. And as women, sometimes we can lay down the hammer in a different way. And I kind of love that. And so getting young women and young people involved, especially to be relatable to this generation, as we saw in 2020 and 2022, when we saw, 2022, yes, excuse me. In primaries, we saw that Gen Z and millennials were the biggest voting bloc, and they voted blue. A lot of them voted blue. So it's one of those things where I really want to encourage people who aren't registered to vote, because there's a lot of people that just don't vote, which I saw on the campaign trail, which is mind-boggling to me that you don't vote, to get out there and get active civically, because that's the only ways are going to change. So that's going to be my platform this year. So hopefully it's not too controversial. I'll just say I'm really excited that we're going to get out there and vote, and hopefully that'll be enough. So we're excited about that.
Did you just meet up with Riley Gaines? Did I have that right?
Yeah. So this is actually the second time I have met her. She was at the Young Women's Leadership Summit in Dallas a couple months ago, and she was just in Omaha, and she came to it wasn't necessarily a forum. It was just kind of a good conversation with leaders in our community, and over 1,000 Nebraskans showed up to hear her speak. And she encouraged our governor, Governor Pillen, to sign the second Women's Bill of Rights in the United States. I believe Oklahoma was the first, but you may have to fact check me on that. And what's really interesting is last night we filled up Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska with a Husker volleyball game. And it was obviously a women's game. And we filled the stadium with 92,003 people, the largest women's sporting event ever. Wow. And during the game, our governor signed the Women's Bill of Rights during the game as we were setting. It almost gives me goosebumps because I'm like, that just seems amazing. Yeah. He signed the Women's Bill of Rights as we were setting the world record for the largest female sports game in history. So wow. It's kind of fun. Big things are happening in Nebraska. I feel like I should just be the tourist department myself because I'm always like, coming to Nebraska is the greatest state ever.
No, 100%. I'm a huge advocator of the Save Women's Sports movement. I did a song and a music video with Alex Stein called Save Women's Sports, where we've gotten bikinis and showed people what it actually looks like when a man gets in a bikini. It's not a pretty sight, especially without a wax job, which is how I rolled. But so I really want to talk about that for a second. And for our listeners who, might think we're not being fair to the trans people that want to compete in women's sports. Haile, for you, why is it important that we separate that and kind of keep women's activities for women and men's activities for men?
Absolutely. Well, I think coming from a scientific background, again, I've been a personal trainer for 10 years. My whole family is in the health and medical industry. Boys and girls are different. And I know that will just set the internet ablaze, but boys and girls are different. And when you talk about something like sports, where it's physical activity, and you saw it in, a UFC fight. I don't believe it was UFC. I'm so sorry. MMA fight, I believe. Yeah. You've seen it in volleyball. You've seen, just look at Riley Gaines. She wasn't physically injured, but she had an opportunity taken away from her. And at the end of the day, this is the whole point of Title IX. This is exactly why we have this in place. And I want to say this for the record. I'm all for co-ed sports. If you know going into this that is a man that you are competing against and you are fine with that, that is your prerogative. Again, that's the great thing about America. You go have a co-ed sport, but when you take women who might not be willing, who might be shy, who might be obviously weaker than a man, and you don't give them an option to compete against a man, and they end up physically hurt, they end up without a scholarship or an opportunity because of that, it's wrong. And that's just the point of it. In pageantry, we're seeing a lot of this in the Miss America and the Miss USA stage. We're now seeing Miss Universe is owned by a trans man or trans woman, a woman that was a man. I'm still trying to learn the lingo. I'm a slow subscriber to that. I apologize. But I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but Donald Trump actually used to own Miss USA. And yes, and you can ask almost any pageant queen, what the difference between a Donald Trump era Miss USA and a current Miss USA is. And they will say the women are different. They were more feminine. The show production was exactly what you would expect out of a pageant. And the focus was on femininity. And you don't see that anymore. You see it on this wokeism, social justice stuff, and you're taking away what makes us women, which is our femininity. So
yeah, and Haile, I put this up there.
Love that answer.
Because this is my daughter Eleanor. We had breakfast with Riley. We've become friends, and isn't that precious? And by the way, she looked at your picture. She said she's really pretty. But what you're doing, what you're standing for, is so important for our kids.
Thank you.
So very important. And I don't know if Eleanor will become an athlete or she could get into pageants. We don't know, but we don't want her having to compete with biological males. That's just not fair. How is that not misogyny?
Exactly. And, I think I'm still scratching my head at where the feminists are. I very much subscribe to the thought process that women can really do. We can be CEOs. We can be, whatever we want to be, but we don't have to be what men are telling us to be. And unfortunately, you see with the Dylan Mulvaney, is that his name? Yep. Where he's telling girls, a boy telling a girl how to be a girl. And if that's not the very definition of misogyny, I must be lost in translation somewhere, because we're just going backwards here. The progressive movement is going backwards, and I don't know how we got here. So,
well, it's funny. I think there's a blessing in everything. And with this whole wokeism agenda, I feel like what it's really done for me is I'm able to identify what a real woman is, and what somebody who really doesn't understand women's values is, because people have been separated. There's been a delineation between the culture, and you have someone like Haile who's like, well, no, you know what I mean? I understand, what a woman is and what a woman's capabilities are. And I understand what a man's are. And they're very different. That's what makes it so beautiful, is that we have these different capabilities. And God did make us in this separate way. And women don't need to do the things that men do. And men don't need to do the things that women do.
That's
Something
a woman right there.
What's that?
That's a woman right there. I can identify that's a woman.
Something I like to touch on is like, did everyone forget what a woman's touch is? Because they're like, oh no, that's sexist, and you know what I mean? I'm like, well, wait a second. My apartment, if my fiance didn't live in my apartment, it really wouldn't look as nice. Like, it's decorated in a way that has a woman's touch. Like, I made dinner for us last night. I just made like some nachos, and it was just a mess. And my wife was looking at me like, what did you do? You put the refried beans over the cheese. Everything's a mess. And I'm like, woman's touch.
You had one job, Nick. One job.
She keeps him in line. I got to spend the weekend with them in Vegas, and she's lovely, by the way. Orchid's just.
Oh yeah. She's met Orchid.
Yes.
So,
oh, okay.
There's something special in that, and I just feel like the culture is what they're trying to do is delete that history, delete what a woman's touch is, and a man has a certain capability of what he can do that a woman can't do. It's like, let's live in that harmony and complement each other. That's what's so great about a marriage between these two sexes is because they complement each other. You know what I mean? Like, a man's going to do some shit around the house that a woman can't do or really doesn't want to do. And a woman's going to do some stuff around the house that a man cannot do and doesn't want to do. So
listen, I've been married for 3 years, and there's nothing more true than that statement. Now, we're actually moving our we're done in San Diego, so we're closing up our house there. And
awesome.
The move is all in my husband's hands.
Wow.
And I just have to say that I've been a little stressed out the last few days, a little stressed out. So there is truly, when God made man and woman, he made us with such a specific purpose. And you can see that. And, Riley had said this on stage, but I know we're all saying it and thinking it, is that when you start taking away the definition of a man and a woman and taking away certain words, and you're destroying the family unit, and you're taking away people's free speech. Look at Donald Trump right now. That is the basis of Marxism. And just to say it out loud and to call it by name and put the light on it, I think is one of the most important things that we can do right now, because we are not a Marxist country. We are a free country. We are a constitutional republic, and nothing that this is doing is aligning with that, which is why I think they're getting so much pushback, and rightfully so.
You're so right. And it's so good to hear that, because a lot of people, first of all, maybe aren't aware that this is Marxism. They don't know what Marxism and communism are. Some people are even flirting with the idea that communism is great, but it killed more people in the 20th century than any other ideology, well over 100 million people. And why are they flirting with this? And it's so good to have somebody like you. I look maybe, conservative, older guy, but you're literally like a beauty queen, and you're talking about. I think it's fantastic.
Right now, you look Amish with the outfit that you're wearing. I don't know.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm making some great furniture lately.
Put your business on Public Square if you decide to sell it. Don't forget to do that.
Haile, you touched on Trump a little bit. Let's talk about that. Does Trump have your vote in 2024? If so, why or why not?
I have not made up my mind yet, but I did watch the president. Here's my thing. I think, did we try unplugging the government and plugging it back in? Because I don't think we have yet. And that might be the best option for us right now, to be honest.
Amen.
Here's, I want to see how things play out with Trump. I supported Trump in 2020. I personally, as a woman, don't find everything he says to be offensive. And maybe it's because I'm a businesswoman that I understand sometimes you just kind of have a harsh rhetoric with things, and that's just kind of the way it goes. And he's a businessman, and he said that. He's not a politician. He is a businessman. And so I respect that. And he has never wavered from that. That's one thing. Here's my question for you, Nick, is will he drain the swamp this time? That's my question, because, I have a lot of concerns about that. I feel like there was a lot of people around him, and it was not Trump himself. It was the people he kept around him that I felt that agenda could not be fulfilled. And so what are we going to do different in 2024? Now, I personally think he's going to win in the primary, so I don't think I really have to think about it that much, because there's no way I'm voting for a Biden. That's for sure. Or an RFK Jr., I guess, if that miracles happen. I'm not sure. My concern is I want the swamp drained. That is the number one priority, because even if I'm the biggest anti-abortion advocate, if I'm the biggest women's sports advocate, if that swamp is not drained, we are not going to get anything done at all.
Very well put. I actually just released a song like a month ago called Drain the Swamp. It's all about what you're talking about. I have some doubts myself. I really use the process of elimination at the end of the day. I'm like, I'm not voting for Vivek Ramaswamy. I'm not voting Ron DeSantis. I'm not voting for Joe Biden again or Kamala or whoever they're going to pull out of the swamp there. So for me, I just think that he is the best option to actually fulfill his word. I didn't love what he did with the vaccines. I think the vaccine is literally the mark of the beast. But what I do is I say, I'm not in that position. I'm not the president of the United States. Lord knows what kind of position he was put in, where they said, you either do this or you do that. And he chose to do this or that. But I mean, listen, I'm a JFK guy. I got JFK, tatted right here. When I hear Donald Trump speak, and I had the pleasure of meeting Junior this past weekend at Reawaken America. Super cool dude.
I have to correct you here, Nick. Donald Trump Jr. got the chance to meet.
Thank you.
There we go. Good correction there.
That's how he felt as well. But and then both of them speak with such conviction and such passion that I haven't heard not only in Congress but in the White House in a very long time. So that for me, they definitely have my support, because I truly believe that it's the closest we'll get to JFK. That's just how I feel.
This might surprise you, but I have got JFK as a keychain.
Oh, awesome. That doesn't surprise me at all.
I'm a very big end the Fed type of gal. Like if someone were to ask me, if my husband were to ask me on a date, and I would have to know that he is also an end the Fed type of guy. He has become one since then, I'm pretty sure. I'm not quite sure, but I'm pretty sure I've convinced him at this point. So we all know that. Was
he more political? Did he get you into it, or did you get him into it? Or
oh no, neither of us were when we actually got married in March of 2020. We were one of the couples that didn't get to have a wedding. So all we had was a courthouse wedding. Oh, wow. And if anybody's seen my Instagram, that's obviously not my aesthetic, but we made it work. And then right away he got deployed. And so we've been together about 5 months out of our marriage, that out of the 3 years we've been married. So be a military wife, they said.
Yeah.
So, but he loves what he does. He loves serving our country. He wouldn't have it any other way. And he just has such a passion for not only his work, but also, all the veterans that have served, that have come before him.
Well, God bless the both of you. Him for serving our country, and you for supporting him while you're doing it.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
It takes courage and determination to take on the enemies of freedom. It also takes money. Right now, I'm in the process of fighting the targeting of school parents by the FBI, and I need to raise funds for legal expenses and travel. I'd appreciate any amount you'd like to donate. Just go to givesendgo.com/freedomtalk. God bless you, and thank you for considering supporting the work that we do in the name of freedom.
That's beautiful.
Let me tell you guys something here. And I didn't like Donald Trump before he ran for president. I didn't have a strong dislike, but I thought, I saw an Apprentice episode, and I thought, man, he seems really arrogant. Now I find myself being a Trump apologist practically. And Nick, you're a conspiracy guy. There are some people, and we talked with Chad Vivas and some others who follow Q theory and that kind of thing. Some would say that Donald Trump has allowed this all to happen so that the deep state can be exposed. He allowed the election to be stolen. There's that theory that this is a long drawn out process of draining the swamp. I know there's a counterinsurgency. I'm not going to tell you how I know that. But the question is, how is it working? Are we winning? Nick, do you have some thoughts on this theory that Trump is actually in control and that what he's doing is fifth generation warfare?
Well, listen, I had to back up from the Q stuff because it did start going down a rabbit hole that even I couldn't follow. Some crazy theories, John F. Kennedy Jr. is still alive and he's going to come back. All this crazy stuff. So for me, I really like to only talk about stuff that we can really see and really hear. I don't know what's going to happen or what's happening behind the scenes, but I do feel like everything happens for a reason and that we're all under God's watch. And so if there is some great plan, to be revealed, or some storm that is coming, I do feel like, it's possible under God's watch. Anything's possible under God's watch. So,
yeah, I hold out that hope. I have a friend, he's a retired Air Force pilot, and he really delves into this. He says, Kelly, it's absolutely happening. General Flynn put out this book, 5GW, Fifth Generation Warfare. We got to meet Boone Cutler at Reawaken America, who co-authored that book with him. There's definitely something going on. There's a war going on. There's a battle, but some of the QAnons, you might call it, they're not actual Q, but some of the QAnons put out these theories and everything like that. So for me, I'm somewhat skeptical. My friend Brian says, Kelly, you gotta look into this stuff. Chad, same thing in Las Vegas. Look at these expressions. Who am I influenced by these days? And he said, you really got to follow this stuff. It's all there. So who knows? I mean, who knows?
Listen, people like General Flynn, obviously have some sort of military intelligence behind the scenes. He was there at Reawaken America. He got up and performed in front of Chad Beavis's poster, which has a painting of him and Donald Trump and the big Q right in the back of it. So yeah. I feel like if he was like, this is ridiculous, he'd be like, get that off the stage. I'm not going to go speak in front of these people with this Q thing in the back. So it does say something, you know what I mean? And Trump has alluded to Q being a real thing, many different times in different scenarios. So it's very possible, so, I mean, who knows? I think time will tell. My thing is I'm not like holding my breath, following the Q pose. I don't have time for it.
Well, let me show you guys something that kind of blew my mind, and I mentioned this to Toria Brooke, and when he went to get his mug shot taken in Fulton County there, President Trump, and I verified this, he listed his height as 6'3", 215 pounds in your dreams. He's probably more like 245, right? Add up these numbers, Nick. Add up these numbers. 6 + 3 + 2 + 5.
I'm definitely not a math guy. Just tell me the answer, Kelly. What do we got?
9, 10, 11. 12 + 5 is 17. What does 17 stand for? Which letter of the alphabet is number 17?
Oh, is it Q?
Q.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, what?
Wow.
Somebody said, I think it was X22, because I listen to that once in a while. He said that's a signal from Trump.
Very possible, but what you just did right there is what I stopped doing. Like I
know.
I don't have time for it. Let me see it in the real aggregate. You know what I mean? Let me see it in real time. Haley, one thing I wanted to ask you is, in your definition, what does it mean to be a patriot? And what is freedom, and why is it worth fighting for?
What it means to be a patriot. Oh my God. I think it's love of God, family, country, I think is a perfect way to sum that up. It's that in that order too. You put God before everything because he has already written the perfect book. We don't even have to think about it, which is so nice. He definitely thought that one through. He's given us the rules of life. He's given us how to have the most prosperous life. And I truly believe that's what America is for. It's for prosperity and dreams and opportunity. And, to have freedom, when you look at countries like China, when you look at countries like Cuba or North Korea, I would not define any of that as freedom. I would define that as, I would say communist. I mean, communists at the end, they are communists. Okay, I'm just going to say it. I'm not really sure why I'm beating around the bush on that one.
You're safe on this platform.
Yeah, I never know these days. I've been kicked off of TikTok like 16 times. So I'm like, what can I even say anymore? But you look at when the big government, big overreach starts to happen and men start playing God. And when men start playing God, you have ruined the entire definition of patriotism and freedom. And ultimately, that's what America stands on. That's what America was built for. That's what the revolution was about, is that we're not going to listen to England. We're not going to listen to this patriarchy that's trying to play God in other people's lives and tax people to death and do things that don't align with truly what God has planned for his sons and daughters. And so, they call the America the Great Experiment or something along those lines about we are doing things so differently because we're a constitutional republic. We're not a democracy. We're not socialist. We're not, or, what is it? You haven't tried socialism the right way or whatever it is, we're not communist. We're not any of these countries because we are founded by and led by God. And when we lose sight of that, we're seeing the effects of that. And so I would consider myself a patriot. Duh. And I don't really feel like I do that much. I'm not out on a front. I'm not in the military. I'm not putting my life on the line every day. All I'm doing is promoting American values. It's not something you need to like be so gung-ho about. It's putting your money that supports those values into companies that support those values. It's watching shows that support your values. Mm-hmm. It's speaking up when something isn't right, something isn't moral. And when we choose not to do that, we slowly chip away at the patriotism and the freedom that our country was founded on.
Vladimir Lenin said the goal of socialism is communism. And people fool themselves. Socialism is just communism.
Yeah.
Light. And, public square is capitalism.
Amen.
Long live capitalism. I mean, the harder you work, the more you improve yourself, the better you do. And that's a wonderful thing. And, we are a constitutional republic. As Benjamin Franklin said, we have a republic if you can keep it. Peer democracy leads to mob rule. It completely overwhelms minority views. And this is why I think the people in charge, you might say, the elites, really talk about democracy all the time because they realize straight democracy leads to mob rule, which leads to chaos, which is an entryway for tyranny to come in. And they know that's the quickest way back into power. Yep. And they hate the republic because the republic rightly puts the power in the hands of the people. So what you said was absolutely beautiful. It's so good to hear.
Thank you. I'm just out here in my pink blazer. I'm like, listen, you guys, if a blonde in a pink blazer can do this, you guys can speak up at a school board meeting. Okay.
I love it. Give me Reese Witherspoon vibes.
I have
thinking that Legally Blonde.
Yes. It's funny you say that. When I first ran so there are, we do have establishment here in Nebraska, and they did not like the fact that I ran for office because I wasn't, I hadn't been involved in politics for forever. Okay. Well, look at the people who have. Okay.
Yeah.
So, when I first went to our GOP meetings, I was wearing my, dresses I would normally wear to a pageant. And I walked in and I had a gal tell me that my dresses were too short and I would never have a future in politics. And if you know anything about me, I am one of the most petty people you've ever met in your entire life. And I said, okay, ma'am. Okay. So I went out and I bought every single suit I could find in every neon color, every pastel color, every hot pink suit I could find with sparkles on it. And I started wearing that. And I said, my values don't change because of what I look like and what I wear. And this is not the last time you're going to see me, my friend. And somehow that created this brand. And I've been called the Legally Blonde of Nebraska quite a few times. Like it's hard.
Right.
And so I appreciate that. That's a huge compliment because she wins at the end.
I got to ask you, I just have to ask this. What do you think of the new Barbie movie? Have you seen it? Have you heard of it?
You stole the words out of my mouth. I swear to God, my next question was going to be: I saw that you went and saw the Barbie movie on your story. How is it, having your values and walking into what I've heard? I haven't seen it. Is a woke agenda movie with woke values, and how do you kind of delineate your intake of media?
Okay, so I'm so glad you guys asked this.
Kelly, get out of my brain.
I'm so glad you guys asked this because I have a different point of view than a lot of conservatives do. And I've actually made a lot of conservatives mad over my view of the Barbie movie, which, whatever, you know what? We're all free thinkers, everybody, okay? I think that you need to know that anytime you see a big Hollywood movie, it's going to have wokeism. It goes back to the ESG thing. You just have to know that, and you have to prepare your brain and go in with your armor on a little bit when you go see stuff like that. And I'm never going to turn down an opportunity to wear pink. So they kind of got me there. Okay. My idea of the Barbie movie, I grew up with Barbie as teaching me that girls can do anything. If they want to be a mom, if they want to be a astronaut or a lawyer or president, you know, whatever they want to be, they can do. That's how I always grew up with Barbie, and she had really cute clothes. So, you know, there's that. And so I went into it with that preconceived notion, and I thought there was some wokeism in it, not as much as a lot of people were saying, because at the end of the day, the message was that men and women are equal. In my opinion, that's what I got from the movie. However, when you call Barbie a fascist, I kind of have a problem with that, because I don't think Barbie's a fascist, in my opinion. Right. And now you look at Barbie, and they have absolutely succummed to the wokeness. You know, they have every single kind of, I think they even have a trans Barbie at this point, if I'm not mistaken. And so
what Barbie?
A trans Barbie. I believe. I think you
said Tucket Barbie or something like that.
I'm sure they do. Honestly,
not the same thing, right? Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to take your word for this, because I think I would melt if I went to the Barbie movie. I have to turn in my man card, but
you know what? Listen, and I, you know, they did put a lot of emphasis on the patriarchy. I think if I took a shot every time I heard the word patriarchy, I would not be here on this show today. So that was a little overwhelming, but I you know, it was one of those things where I knew there was going to be something. So I was trying to pick the good parts out of it. Oh, but at the end of the day, I think women can be anything that they choose to be, and men and women should have the same opportunities. It shouldn't your opportunity shouldn't be defined if you're a man or a woman. At the end of the day, when we go back to traditional values and traditional roles of the genders, I think that problem will work itself out.
This is a perfect place for me to interject this. I'm excited about it. We kind of have a mystery guest. I'm going to say it's a mystery guest because we're confirming this person, but we're putting on a seminar called Fathering in a World Gone Mad. And it's going to be a 6-part online seminar for parents. And, you know, dads can watch it, obviously. Moms can watch it. You can get it as a gift. We can have churches or schools purchase it, and we'll give them special rates. But Victor Marks, I gave it away. I forgot to take the text out. But Victor Marks, General Mike Flynn is pending right now. Eric Metaxas and John Amanchukwu. I don't know if you know who he is, but he had this viral video where he was reading one of these sex ed books at a school board meeting, and the school board was getting very uncomfortable. It was super great. He said, gosh, who did he say saw that? All kinds of celebrities got back to him about that. But we haven't officially launched it yet. It is up on our website, but I'm really excited about this. And we're talking with, I won't say it yet, but a potential partner on this. And having this be something, this is something men need so badly right now. Yes. And having even study groups and Q&A and all those types of things. So I'm really excited about it. And I know, Nick, you're behind this. You're not a father yet, but I just want to bring this out, and we'd love to share it with you and tell you more about that. But you know, fathers and men need help. I love to hear you talking about men and women and traditional roles. And I think, you know, like my wife is mostly a stay-at-home mom. She's done different things. But I think, you know, that's her choice. And I think that's an honorable thing to do. You don't have to go out and be a physician or a lawyer or whatever. I think the mom, she's homeschooling ever since they closed down the schools in Tucson. I think that's one of the most valiant things that a woman can do. And unfortunately, it's been treated as if it's sort of second class.
Absolutely. I don't know if you guys have seen that TikTok that's gone viral recently. And it is of a woman, and she's kind of putting her hand through a ring. And then it changes to, you know, if she gets married, she's going to be this, you know, servant wife, where she's cleaning and dirt on her face and a crying baby and all this stuff, and painting this horrible picture of marriage and, you know, being a mom and all this stuff. And she goes, not for me. And it's really interesting because I was reading an op-ed on this, and I cannot remember the publication, but TikTok is a Chinese-owned app, very public information. And in China, the content that is pushed out to Chinese women is very traditional values. It's very happy families and, you know, loving parents, and education is so important. And it's not the things being pushed out on TikTok right now. And I find that very interesting because now you're seeing this demoralization of fatherhood, of traditional masculine roles, of traditional feminine roles, of genders being wiped out everywhere. And I think it's so important to make sure that we have a strong platform that says men should be men and masculine and leaders, and women should be women and maternal and gentle and gracious. Not that we can't be bulldogs too when certain times arise, but that's just not what we're called to do. It's very against our God-given nature, in my opinion.
And I promise I'm not trying to do product placement here. This is a book I wrote for my sons, and then I went and published it. This is going to be a part of the fathering seminar, but I have a chapter on sex and then a PS to that. And, you know, I try to approach this from the standpoint of what lies are you being sold and what are you missing out on? And there's just a number of things. You know, if you're in a good marriage, you pretty much get to have sex whenever you want, when you both want to. You don't have to be nervous or have to, you know, perform, or, you know, and you get to know what each other likes, you know. There's just a number of wonderful things about marriage. And I feel like a lot of people are missing out because they're being sold this idea that, you know, hookups and one night stands are great. I pulled something the other day up on apps, and the what is it? The Ashley, what is it? The
Ashley Madison.
Yeah, Ashley Madison popped up, and my wife's right there, and I said, I swear I'm not. She didn't even know what it was, but like they're missing out, and this is what I'm going to send you a copy of this book, by the way. We'll get your address.
Wonderful.
But the whole point is not condemnation and attacking what we hate, but it's what we love and what we consider sacred and why. And when you do what God says, when you follow what he intends for people, it can be absolutely wonderful. And the pinnacle of existence, really, for most people, is that union between male and female, between man and woman. And this is why I think the enemy is attacking that. They're attacking gender. They're attacking male-female roles. They're trying to turn men into women and women into men. I don't know. I just had to say that. I'm an old guy. I get on my soapbox. You know,
it's an attack. It's a full attack on the family unit. At the end of the day, that's what we're seeing with Disney and all of these, you know, movies and wokeism, is that they're trying to attack the family unit, because a strong family will withstand tyranny and be a problem for the government. You know, people that are tightly knit to each other are less likely to let Big Brother come in and take them away and you know, and let the government kind of detach the family. So it's so important that we have that bond and we have that unity. And just like you said, Kelly, like, there's something in it special when you have a relationship with somebody. You know, the laughter that you shared that day, the movies that you guys laughed about, that all ends up in the bedroom. And so people don't really understand that. They think, you know, a one night stand or meeting someone at a club while you're drunk is like the highlight of your life. It's like, for me personally, that was always the most awkward encounters that I ever had. It's like, I didn't really know that person. They didn't really know what I liked. I didn't really know what they liked. We were just kind of shooting in the dark there. So
ultimately, it leaves you feeling empty. It really does.
Absolutely. When you have that bond with somebody and you're looking at them deeply in the eyes, there's a connection there. There's something very special and unified. And they're trying to detach that every day. But real quick, we have like 5 minutes left. Haley, tell us anything that you want to tell us in this next 5 minutes. Also, where people can find you and what you're doing, anything upcoming that you want to talk about. This is your shout out.
Awesome. Well, so I live my life by the quote by Ronald Reagan that says that freedom is only one generation away from extinction, and empowering the next generation of Americans to be patriotic, to be freedom loving, to be strong advocates for American values is huge to me. So I just encourage those. Maybe you're not a young person in today's society, but you probably know a young person. You work with a young person. You have children or grandchildren, and encouraging them to use their voice by voting, by maybe going to a school council meeting, or maybe going to a school board meeting or a city council meeting, or running for office themselves. We are going to be that torch that keeps the legacy of American values going. So I just encourage everybody to get out there and have those conversations. Start those, like, kind of make it, you can even make like a little prohibition of conservative values if you want. And you can just go underground and start having those conversations. And where we're going to see that is at the ballot box in 2024. If anybody does want to get a hold of me, all my social media handles are at Haile McAnally. I keep it very easy, mainly for myself, but it seems to work out for everybody else too. So at HAILE MCANALLY. I'm most active on Instagram. I have a Twitter. I don't use it, but I have it. I'm aware it's there. So you can always find me there as well. Or if you're in Nebraska, feel free to stop by and say hi at any time.
Fantastic. Well, we're here definitely to promote you and what you represent. And I'm available as a speaker. Nick's available, musically. I think it'd be great, Nick, if you and I spoke together sometime. It'd be really fun.
Yeah.
So, we're kind of a family here. We support one another. Haile, I'm just meeting you, but I really appreciate what you have to say. And thank you so much for coming on Freedom Talk. Nick, why don't you close it out?
I'm just so happy that you came on, Haile. The moment I met Haile, I knew she was a light because we were talking about the J6 stuff, and she's like, "Yes, I was there, but did you see my hair?"
It was a good picture that went viral. Okay, come on.
I died. Love what you're doing for this country. Love your patriotism, and I love that you're supporting men in uniform. And I wish you the best of luck in your marriage. I know I never met your guy, but please tell him I said hello. And I'll close this out. So thank you so much for being on the show today, Haile. We got your links. Everybody can go and follow you and check out all of your stuff and follow you on your patriotic journey. This is Nick Nittoli and Kelly Walker signing out with Freedom Talk Counterculture.
Yeah, thanks a lot.